everyone to Politically High Tech with your host, Elias. Before I even get to the meat of this episode, or the nitty gritty, or the edutainment, whatever you want to call it, this is going to be an interesting one because, normally I lace AI and some technological advancement into this episode. In this case, I'm going to go a little bit of a different route here because I have a guest here that's going to allow me to do that and to be more conscious about a certain thing. You know, those stupid selfies you take that has no meaning and purpose that you're going to forget in 2 nanoseconds and twist your head, make your head look funny and whatever. Yeah, he's so all those faces too. All that silliness. Well, me, I feel silly doing it too. And this is coming from a millennial. I suck at selfies. It takes me the 10th try to finally get a decent selfie out of me. I hate it. I'd rather have someone take a picture of me. Oh, that's old school. So I'm old school. So what? I don't take it as an insult. That's just how I roll. But I have a guest here who is, I would say, definitely more experienced than me in life. We're not going to use old. We're not going to use elder. We're going to call them seasoned or veterans of life. That's a new term we're going to use, okay? Because they have experience. If you want to say I'm blood kissing the elder, I don't care. You want to say that, I don't really care. But I just think some of that traditional respect needs to be restored because it's been severely compromised in one way or another. Just look at social media. They say boomers are dumb in tech. Well, not all of them. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Some will even beat you and actually not get hacked as much because they have a purpose in mind. Especially you Gen Zers. I'm calling you because you use tech too much and some of y'all are careless, according to some statistics. So don't think you're tech superior, okay? Humble yourself, all right? All right, before I continue to bash all of you, I'm going to introduce a guest here and get right to it, all right? He is going to introduce using a certain thing, a picture, digital picture with legacy and purpose. Okay. And we're going to try to address what he called it, his term, not mine. I'm just quoting here, digital dementia. I think we all are getting it. And we just take 10,000 photos with absolutely no meaning and we forget what they all are. We forget about vast majority of them. We could barely remember one. Okay. I mean, put a gun to your head. I think you're not going to remember it. That's how bad our memories. We outsource that memory. Okay. To the primarily this smartphone here. And if you want to be a little more traditional, maybe a laptop, if some of you believe in a laptop still. So, all right, enough of my yammering. We have James Gebhardt here, and he is owner, founder, super boss. Yes, I'll just throw that in there of MyArkIt. Okay. And I'm not going to introduce them. I always have the guests introduce themselves because I think they could introduce themselves better than I can. I might miss something. I might unintentionally misrepresent. So, James, what do you want the listeners and the viewers to know about you before we get started?
I'm the CEO of MyArkIt.com. And like you were saying, we're working with trying to alleviate what we call digital dementia. I kind of stole the phrase. And you will find out when we're talking here about how important it is. People kind of go, what's digital dementia? Well, just imagine your life is digital, cradle to grave nowadays. And if you're not careful with how you actually handle those precious memories, you're going to get click and they're going to be deleted in time. It's not like we used to have a picture on the wall that's great grandpa who or whoever, and then all of a sudden one generation people kind of go, who's that? And they go, I don't know. And then the picture basically gets put into a garage sale, and then you're kind of forgotten. And then another generation looks you up on genealogy and they go, who's that? I don't know. They were married in here and then they died in this date. And that's that's the only thing they remember of you. We have technology now that we can actually tap into that will save a little bit of humanity. Social media is kind of getting into a little bit of a melting pot of goo where you get the good and the bad. Some stuff rises to the top, which is good, but you get a lot of that stuff in the pot is really gooey. And, and a lot of people don't even want to get on social media and get online anymore type of thing, to where we're going to use some of that technology and help people remember people. Your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, people that have passed away, good friends. A lot of times people don't remember something. They look at a picture and they go, that was a good friend of mine. I used to know him back in high school. That's it. That's all you can remember. You have great memories. You have some great stories you can bring up, but it wouldn't be nice to kind of remember that and then pass them down from generation to generation.
Yep. This is more a purposeful episode. Look, this is not just, this is definitely not paranoia. I just believe that we have forgotten the importance of a photo, especially someone significant in the past. where you use, grandma, grandpa for the maternal and fraternal side of the family for some of you, especially those who got both mom and dad, right? And a lot of us just say, who the heck is that? Maybe it's my grandmother. I don't freaking know. What? You don't know your grandmother? Well, maybe I'm going to be a little dramatic, but there's some pictures that, yeah, we say, oh, who's this friend? I said, oh, yeah, I'm sure I knew him sometime back then, but you can't you can't put a name on it because you're forgetting, and obviously it wasn't that important for you just to remember that. I'm just gonna be honest. You remember something when it's important. That's what I believe, at least, right? I mean, that could be probably a little debate. Oh, that's mean. I'm being honest. I mean, look, when it comes to phone numbers, I only barely remember a
Oh,
few. My mother.
we used to remember a lot of phone numbers when we were younger. I can still remember my house phone number, my address when I was a kid. I can't remember my wife's phone number right now.
Oh, yeah. You know what? He's not even just that's not even self deprecation. That's become far more common. I barely remember, well, my own phone number. Even at times I'll forget my own phone number. I remember what my mom's, remember his. And so I got to look it up. We outsource so much. We just dump things like numbers and birthdays. Forget it.
Yeah.
I used to remember like 100 birthdays. Oh, this one's coming up, whatever. We forgot all about that.
I can never remember birthdays. If I didn't have a wife, I would never remember anybody's birthday.
I mean, me, as a kid, I used to remember birthdays. Until get obsessed with this little smartphone thing, and I got
It's
outsourced. Yep.
it's helpful at the same time. It's a demon.
It's
I've had people have. I mean, I had a friend of mine that had all these beautiful pictures of his newborn baby, and some people can back them up. Of course, they go up in the cloud. Some people don't because it costs money. And he went out golfing, and he lost his phone along with all the pictures of his newborn baby. So it was just like if he would have just stopped for a second and had some outlet where you can actually save some of those memories.
Listen. You may call that a shameless plug, and I encourage it. Okay. There's a reason. This is not. Even though this is a fun conversation, this is not charity. Okay.
Right,
I'm
right,
just
right.
being honest. Look, here's a solution. All right. I'm just gonna point it out. Yeah. Yeah. I encourage him to do that. I mean, come on. Come on. Come on. I mean, he's trying to elevate purpose of the phone. Well, re-elevate because it had purpose before until we over rely on this. Plus, well, actually, social media came a little before this. Once these two, were overly used, forget it. That's just been just pushed to the side and all of that. And yeah, it's really scared me. I lost a couple of photos that I wish I had because like certain events I went to, I don't remember what year and what date, and my friend and I have a debate about that, and it's gonna be almost a never ending debate until one person pull out the actual photo and the date on it. So that's why it's important to have these things. It was considered a great time too, but now it's gonna be a quote quote endless debate. And I'm putting in quotes until we get the actual document someday when it turns up and when we both actually care to dig into the truth. But I lost mine. He lost his too. So forget it. Go
We
ahead.
just went through every year. It seems like we go through I remember I had a gentleman I was working with one time. He had a house fire, lost a whole bunch of photos. We just went through hurricanes down in Florida and down south there. A lot of people are losing stuff, and just wiped out. I've had a cousin was on Facebook, and he said somebody took over his identity, and boom, everything he had on there for years was gone. He had to start over. And I've had more than one friend happen that to him. And people don't realize where it's like I have that backed up. And it's like if you don't touch those backups in Google and Microsoft and stuff like that for a certain period of time in Apple, they will delete you. They don't automatically save it for a long, long, long time. It might be 90 days to 2 years, and then they go, boop, you're gone. So, we have a lot of stuff out there. We have a lot of great memories we want to share.
Yeah, so he is your memory safe, if you will. He is your memory vault. It'll be well protected, okay? Compared to, yeah, you're right. Because if you don't do anything about it, these companies are just gonna wipe it out. They just operate automation because they got so much stuff to do. I mean, I'm not defending
And,
them, and
and
so
it's
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 your
their business.
responsibility. Yeah, go
It's
ahead.
their business model, which is a great model. They let you have a certain bit of backups, let you go on their websites for free, social media, all that kind of stuff. But you ever look in, everybody's putting stuff on Instagram, YouTube, X, all those type of things. And it's just not one of those things where it's just like, if you're not there for a while, you're gone. Because they figure Once you're there, you're using it. Other people are watching you, and they can sell advertising. So we have a different model on the way we do things. We sell somebody a one-time fee for starting off with 10 gigabytes, and they can start putting stuff into their account, and then they can do that from a child from day one all the way up until they pass away at age 120. And so you got to have some other place to put your stuff besides. I got my backup on my desk, but that can be lost in a garage sale or a house fire, anything like that, be gone.
Yeah, you're talking more like the tragic loss even before smartphones, social media, with the hurricanes, the fires. People have lost photos. I mean, prior to this digital advancement, right? So there you go.
Yeah,
On veterans of life. This is why you need to get to. Oh, I don't need digital. Come on, veterans of life. You know
it'll,
the fire
yeah,
and hurricanes.
yeah.
You don't have a backup that could, immortalize
Uh,
these photos. Come on.
I was
Come
trying to get
on.
my information from my grandfather on my mom's side. He was in World War II. He was in Guadalcanal. And I said, well, I'll see if I can actually check on, he's got records with the government, right? He was in a war. No, if you look it up, back when he was actually in the military, back in World War II, they had a bunch of uh, records there in Washington, I think it was. But there was also a huge fire. I can't remember, it was back in the 60s or 70s that actually burned for 2 or 3 days and wiped out a huge amount of records. So right there, yes, you can't trust the government to keep your records. And what we try to do is we try to have multiple backup as multiple companies. And we have a way now of being able to actually safeguard them for generations. We have plans.
Yeah, but plan after a plan after a plan,
I got to.
I mean, look, this may sound silly to some of you, but if you want to protect especially precious moments, if it's stupid photos, yeah, I get it. Yeah, let the companies do whatever you want with it. Maybe, I don't know, was you look dressing up like a dog, acting like a dog? Maybe that's a little embarrassing. Maybe you want them to wipe that out. But we're not talking about. But I mean, you could choose to do that. I don't think he's gonna judge. Maybe he might laugh at your photo. I'm kidding.
We,
I don't
we
know.
we actually what we do is when you buy that when you buy it, you can actually try it for 30 days for free. But when you buy it, you actually get to choose public or private. So basically, you can save a whole bunch of stuff, and it's private. Nobody will see it until you pass away, because then your executor basically clicks a button, and all your stuff then becomes public. So you can be putting stuff in there for years and really don't care until you die. Then everything becomes public.
So I'm sure he's having photos of himself right now, James. Here, and then by the time when he's gone, death is guaranteed. I mean, I don't care how much you try to do whatever. Even with medical advancements, we could hit 20. That's becoming more possible than ever. I mean, people are hitting hundreds, which that's great. Okay, by life expectancy overall, that's been going up, up, up. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, but I would say the best country for that is Japan for obvious reasons. They're probably hundreds, 110s. I mean, some feeling even hit 100 and well, probably close to 120, I'm sure. But look, when you're gone, or if you want people to remember you, I mean, this is a safe, this is, I'll say, a memory with a vault within a vault within a vault within another vault until you're gone. And I'm sure that they'll come out and say, "Oh, that was my pop. He was such a great guy. His photos are here." Instead of just, I don't know, rely on Google and Microsoft for them, then they wipe it out. If you don't care about them, they will wipe it out. I mean,
Oh yeah,
let's
because they're
be
not
honest.
making any money off you. And what
Yeah.
we try to do is we take a percentage of the sales and stick it over into what we call the principal investment group, or the PIG. And basically, just that money sits there and creates a return on interest that basically pays for data storage. And that's our plan. So we can actually, since we're a C corporation, it can basically go on in perpetuity for quite some time and just pay for itself.
Yep. Come on, business people. This should be of interest to you.
Oh yeah, I got sticks and stones out there all over the place talking to people, and you try to get past the basic venture capitalist that wants to know the TAMs and the SAMs and all these other kind of numbers. And it's just like, no, I want you to understand what we're trying to do and what the possibility is. It's just not a neighborhood thing. It could be a global thing, because we can tap into multiple language, multiple cultures, and we tapping in with Amazon Web Services and Iron Mountain, two of the hugest companies in the world for data storage. And if they can understand what we can actually tap into, and this is generational, generation after generation, and just the portion of just some people's memories, that's just one or two services out of about 10 different income streams we have. We even have another service called events.com, events at myarkit.com. And that covers people like, let's say you had a high school. I went back to high school. I have no idea where my high school yearbook is. And I got some pictures, as friends sent me some pictures of that. And I finally got some stuff into my account that I remember now. But let's say if you actually had an event where, a couple ways you can do this. A couple ways. You have an event, you have a high school, you have some of your people at college, high school, and they're like, everybody gets a high school yearbook. And the majority of you don't know anybody in that high school anyway. You just have your clique you're running around with. Okay, have your best friends join in with your event for no charge. You buy the event and everybody's kind of putting your stuff into your event. Your parents can control it because you are under 18. But now you have that whole event, the whole high school thing, and even keeping that friendship going years after that is in your event. And you can do the same thing with a wedding and with many other things you can do an event with. And then another thing I came up with the other day, it would be kind of interesting as an event. Let's say what John F. Kennedy, when he was assassinated, how much stuff was out there with all the different pictures, all the different angles. Everybody had this, but nobody actually has all the negatives and things like that. What if we had an event where somebody said, okay, we had this attempted assassination as an event, and now everybody starts putting their little pieces into the event. Now there's actually some safeguard to that event where people want to actually go and get some information instead of having to rely on the government again or one of the big guys that might censor what you put in there.
To some of you political cynics out there, he sounds like a right winger. Let's not judge, okay? This is not this kind of episode. If you want to think that, you want to put in the comment section, you go express your thing right there. All I'm going to say is I am not going to guarantee to entertain that because this is not a political episode. Both left and the right have their reasons why they're critical of the government.
Exactly.
All right. So this is coming from an independent centrist. All right. This is most political it's going to get. Okay. Let me just shut down my political brain because we don't need that. This is about protecting memory, protecting legacy. That's what's most important. I don't care you're blue, red, purple, rainbow, whatever the heck you are. You want to preserve some memory, okay? As long as you're a human being, you care about memories or even your friends' memories or anything you value, your family, all of that. And go to him, all right? And so let me just throw a slightly challenging question then, because we got into some of how do you assist those who are tech challenged, those who don't know how to use apps right. I mean, some don't know even how to turn on the smartphone properly. I mean, can they get assisted? I'm sure. Well, let me just do a weird example. Millennials are just known to use technology well, but there's some of my age group that suck with technology. You compare it to, let me just frame this carefully, a stereotypical boomer that don't know technology. This person's like half the age. There's some millennials that, so how are you, is there any way you can help them with that? To store photos or anything like that?
Well, we actually have MyArkIt.com. We also have our events service, events.myarkit.com. We also have another website called LifesaverU, and that's lifesaveru.com at myarkit.com. What it does is you can actually click on a little button that says Lifesaver. And besides having all of our videos and all of our other how to get started, how to do this, how to do that, we're actually putting together part of the website that's going to actually have, let's say you have a group. Let's say it could be a church group. It could be a VFW group. It could be any group you want to have. And basically a person can actually get quasi for no charge, let's say a certificate for being a lifesaver. So they kind of go through our little course online and they kind of see all the different ways that you can actually use our service. You can actually not have to use it in one way. You can use it in different ways. But now you actually have an idea how that works. Now you can turn to your group and actually have those people. You can actually help each one of them, maybe how to do a little bit of an interview, how to maybe, I got some pictures at home. Just bring them in. You don't have to be fancy with it. You can just take a little picture with your phone if you want to. It's the memory. And what we also do is you can take a picture, click a button, and add an audio story to a picture. Not just a picture. So, we try to, in the Lifesaver U part of it, we're going to really try to help people not have that inhibition to not start. That's the big thing. People don't feel like that. Well, I don't know how really to start. It's like eating an elephant. You got to start with the first bite. You might do it wrong. No big deal. You can click edit, do it again. but you start putting those memories in there. And it's actually, when I first started it, and I first got my page up and running, not me, my IT guys, I'm challenging that part. And there was good and there's bad. You got to get through some of the glitches. Some of the other glitches might be the browser you're using. Are you using Chrome, different things like that. So sometimes there's good and bad there, but get through the glitches, figure out the best way you can do it with yours. That because we're talking about a lifetime. We're not talking about one thing. It's what I call it. It's like taking on a hobby, you know, you're not going to learn this hobby. And this hobby is going to be for you and for your family. So it's nothing you're going to learn overnight. It's going to be, it's actually going to be quite fun because you're going to be digging up a bunch of stuff out of the old photo albums and asking, hey, could you send me that picture of such and such from when I was arrested that one time, something like that.
Ooh, I'm not. Ooh, some people may want to remember that. So you see how evil this guy is. This preserved ever. This crook. This is why you should have never married him or be friends or whatever context would have used for it.
You put that in the private part so it doesn't come out till you pass away.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, it gives you some privacy. There you go. Privacy features right there. Hey,
Well,
look.
people don't want to put a bunch of stuff on social media because I don't blame them. And I don't like, throwing every little thing on Facebook or Twitter or other things like that. But people want to be able to tell stories and pass on a lot of the stuff that they've done. A lot of stuff like it could be a musician, an artist, a painter, a photographer, somebody, a singer, somebody, basic recipes from your mother or your grandmother, things like that. Pass them on.
Yeah, look, I think he has a very important mission here, and I'm happy for once. I could really say this. I'm happy for once that AI is not the main character here. It might be a little side character, so I might be bending my promise just a little bit. So just adding the AI just a little bit. Will you
Uh,
add AI in the future just to make the photo move or anything like
No,
that?
I maybe there might be just something to make it look a little more pleasing. The only thing I can think of AI incorporating right now is in the help aspect of it and lifesaver. We have another little caveat with that called Archipedia, where you can ask a question, we'll make a little video on how something can help a certain situation out type of thing. So that would be very helpful. When somebody says, "Hey, I got a such and such phone or blah blah, how can I do this?" And we can have our AI, guru or something come up there and help you through a certain situation.
Okay, well, just like a tutorial guide or like probably basic customer service type of thing, like a bot.
I think that's going to be great. AI is going to be great for customer service. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is where I'm actually skeptical of AI. So far, it hasn't proven me to be great at customer service. I think humans are
Yeah.
going to
Well,
still be relevant for us, especially when it comes to me. I got complicated, critical thinking questions that AI is not ready to tackle. I'm sure it's going to get there. It's a matter of when, not if. Let me just be clear. But as of now, it definitely has a lot of room to improve. AI is great for automation and art and all that other stuff. Talk about pictures, but he's not talking about those kind of pictures. Talk about real pictures with people, events you care about. Not generate a blocky looking superhero just breaking stuff and showing those fantastical. No, he's not talking about fantastical mystical crap. Okay, so real memories, real memories. You
yeah.
see,
Remember that.
I try to add fantastical crap. And he's like, what happened? Hey, look, it's all
Yeah.
right. At least he's clear because you can't. This is my thing. I think this is what people get mixed up with a good business. A good business was to be pleasing to every single customer. I don't think so. They just got to know what their audience is, what their goal is, and all. Because if he was able to answer to say, yeah, it's going to do that, I was like, wasn't that distort memories and all of that? I could have asked all these questions. I could just poke the holes and all that. But he's clear about what he wants. He wants to preserve real memories. Having AI doing fantastical stuff, that distracts that, if I'm gonna be honest. You don't want, I don't know, your grandpa talking like Elvis or whatever. You could
No,
do it.
no.
You got other AI tools, you got other AI tools for that silliness. Just not here. This is
Yeah.
for serious memory preservation. Okay, let me just be clear about that. You see, I think a business with a focus goal that sticks to its goals are successful. It's like McDonald's trying to become a health food store.
Well, they did add salad.
Ha! Don't even get me started with that one. They did, and it's terrible. McDonald's, stick to your fast food, okay? Stay in your lane,
Yeah.
all right? Let me just,
Yeah, we're not gonna. I've had people ask me before, like just like you, so getting people, be able to maybe talk to their grandfather AI generated, and it says that's not talking to your loved one. That's talking to a computer generated. I'd rather have people sit down with their loved ones, with their grandparents or parents or great grandparents. Ask them some questions about their life. Get the real stories right from them, the real emotions and stuff like that. Do a little click, and what we have, we always call ARKit. When you're done, you're ready to put it up and save it up into the ARKit.
So, hey, a great business, like I said, is focused on its goals and is not meant to serve every single customer. It's just not possible. And businesses that try to do that, you take a bit of a tank. I mean, McDonald's with the salad thing is a very good example of that. And I'm sure there is others, and what I was very critical of. And I'm not going to talk about video games here because that's going to just derail everything. But my point is stick to your lane, stick to your missions, know your why, and just stick to your why. Like
And
why
my
I do
why.
this podcast. I'm not talking about kiddie crap. I'm not talking about family oriented stuff. But I will at times promote something. In this case, even though you can involve your kids and your family, that's entirely up to you. I'm gonna say no to that. This is your use. Will I get this thing? Well, I certainly do hope so, because I think I've already lost enough important memories for me to really, really start thinking about this purchase, if I'm gonna be honest. Because I think I really lost enough that, especially that trip to that mall that I enjoyed so much, that my friend and I'm just gonna just regurgitate very briefly. We debate about the date, and it's never ending until we pull out that receipt one day, and then we see who's right. I think I'm right. You call me egomaniac, that's fine. I don't care. Or just have fun with the comment section. That's what the comment section is there for. I want to entertain you though, but if you want to express yourself, go right ahead. But tell us what you think. This is a serious question I got for the comment section. If you're interested in purchasing this, how will you use it? I'm just curious. Or if it's really none of my business, the simple thing is just don't answer it. But if you're thinking about it, or you're even thinking about it, so I'll probably use this as to protect, just to document my kids' growth. That's one example, from
That's a
infant to
fantastic way to
whatever.
do that. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Or, go ahead.
That's a fantastic way. I'm trying to get the new mother, the new parent. And a lot of times people take a lot of pictures, and sometimes that's very private because they just want to throw the babies and kids pictures out there. But you have a lot of memories right there from when you're having the baby, maybe when you find out you're gonna have a baby, all that kind of stuff. The first year, the first one. And if you actually have a lot of that stuff, put it someplace that's important, and that could be just their lifetime account. And when they get to be 18, you can give them their lifetime account and have them keep putting stuff to it.
Yeah, but what about your wedding or just your personal milestones, especially when you dig them up? I'm just thinking self-oriented here. Or your trips. I went to Greece. I went to China. Well, those are memorable. Those are moments. It don't always have to be family or significant milestones like a graduation. But you can include those if you want. That's how you use it, right?
It's
And
how you
just
use it, how you want to use it. Yeah. We have a thing. I use the events with the family photo album. When my dad died and when he passed away, I inherited a bunch of pictures and stuff of family photo albums. And my cousin back home in Iowa, we're in Washington right here, they had digitized a lot of those pictures and put a lot of memories with it. Now I took those and put them on MyArkIt on the event for our family. So now different people within the family can now enjoy that family photo album from all different places, all over the country, even the world, if they want to. And they can actually get into it if you're an editor, because not everybody's an editor that gets to add stuff to it, but you can actually start adding and changing memories to those pictures. Like, who was this person? Might ask them, oh, ask your cousin. Then maybe she gets into it because he's one of the editors and she can add the story to it. But, that's one way I use to have events with family photo album.
let me give a somewhat comical example. You're talking about permission settings, I hear. You could let this good cousin you trust edit, but the bad cousin, you want to see the photo, but he can't edit it because he
Right.
might be doing shenanigans, put it on the website, do some AI nonsense with it, turn the grandpa to a blue alien. So that's why he only gets the view permission.
Right.
Well, that's trustworthy.
Yeah.
you know.
You can become a person that is contributes to the event, but that doesn't mean that you automatically get that stuff on the event. It's like a wedding. You can get some people doing some really stupid stuff at a wedding, even before the wedding, some pictures and stuff like that. So the person who owns that event, they get to edit it. They get to choose what goes into that event and puts back to the people that actually enjoyed the event.
So
And you
no, if
got
you
to
drink
have
too
that.
much spirits, for example, I'm
Yeah,
sure that's not going to be included unless they're going to use it for, I don't know, comical purposes, whatever. It's up to the user at the end of the day. I don't know. Some
that's
people are
it. Yeah.
creative, like whimsical like me. I use my silliness if I have to, just document something that's document my serious side. But it's how you want to use it. But I'm sure a normal, rational minded person is not gonna have, it's not gonna have a memory, keep the memory of two drunken idiots, their friends, falling out on the floor because they drank too much and they had, you know, and in dance coordination is just messy, just to put it polite. He's not cursing. I'm not cursing. That's why I have a clean language. I mirror the guest. The guest is foul mouth. I'm gonna be just as foul mouth. I go with the cleanliness of the guest. So always use very clean language. It's option. It's not family friendly, but ironically, this can be used in a family friendly way.
Very family from their way.
So that's the ironic part. But I think thing is me, I'm just seeing like the big picture, like the digital dimension. This is what drew me to this in the first to say, yeah. Normally because I'm not gonna lie, I'm thinking about not interviewing him about tomorrow. So the digital dimension things like, oh crap. I think he's onto something. He's onto something. I've lost a couple of memories. I dig back and even I used that mall example, but it was a really good memory. I say, yeah, we need to talk about this, and the way social media is using all these photos just for just putting it out there to show off to their fake friends. Most of your social media friends are fake. Some of them are just surveillance and stalkers. All right, I could go on and
Yeah.
rant about social media, and a lot of them just love to just show off, over document. I mean, I don't care if you're brushing your teeth. I'm sure most people are not going to use it. There's a document, brushing their teeth or going to sleep.
Some people, it says, "Oh, I got up, I blah blah blah." The same thing the next morning. It's just like we really don't want to see all that kind of stuff. I tell people when they're putting stuff in there, or you're documenting, or you have the happy memories, put some wisdom to your memories. Don't really rag on somebody else, type of thing. You don't want to sit there and become like the big grumpy person in the future. You got to remember, this could be done generation after generation. So you want to put a good light on life, and hand down some wisdom, and not just hand down. I had, oh, this coffee looks great today, and that's, give them something better than that.
Let me just put this nicely. Nonsense you do as a routine. The world does not care. Yes, I'm the snobby host here. Yes, I don't care if you call me a snob. I can't be a snob. And you know what? I have done that just to prove my point. I brushed my teeth. Fools gave likes. I said, stop giving likes. I said, I'm not going to do this. I'm trying to prove a point that nobody cares. But when I talk about something that's interesting or thought provoking or funny, you'll get some attention. Okay, fine. I want the attention there, but not something like I am using the restroom. Some people have post that. I'm pretty sure. Look, I don't know if you're gonna use that for this photo thing. I don't know if the CEO is gonna override your customer rights. I don't think he will, but he's laughing because he knows how absurd this is. And all I'm gonna say is expect the unexpected. You probably might deal with one absurd person. I don't know. I could be wrong here. But look, people just don't care what you do. Just make sure think long term, think, beyond your life. That's the guidance that I could give. All right. And, and he's going to provide a backup of a backup of a backup of a backup. Okay. And me, I will just say, even add a physical copy of the photos. That's just me with the storage. Even if they get burned down,
I always tell
whatever.
people, you got stuff in your most of the time it's in their phone. Most of the time I go from my phone, I go to my desktop computer. It's easy to work with than my phone. But then I also, when I put that stuff like that, I also have my backup on my hard drive on my backup. So you should have a backup of a backup. And now you have a backup now with MyArkIt, to where this can be lost, that can be lost. MyArkIt's going to still be there.
Yep. So I'm sure my listeners and viewers are savvy and serious people. I don't probably one of you are ridiculous. Don't make it easy for me to figure it out. I might want to call you out just for fun. I have that tempting, mischievous childish to me just to call out the. Let's just think of old cartoons. Yes, I'm an old soul sometimes. Either Looney Tunes or Tom and Jerry with the Don's hat. Yeah, I will call you out, the one with the Don's hat. I will call you an idiot. I'm sometimes that kind of person, especially if you make it too easy for me. Just keep that to yourself. If you have some discretion, and that's what I'm going to say. Just keep that to yourself. Don't make it easy for me to figure you out. Okay. Some of your comments give that away too, by the way, especially if you don't think think things through. But if you're brave enough in this comic section, I'm just gonna say this. When you decide to use this, or do you think this is the best way to overcome digital dementia? I mean, that's a serious question to listeners and viewers. Do you think this is maybe this is the only way? Some of you might say. So it's like, oh, I probably got other ways. Definitely provide that if you got other ways. I'm curious to know if you have other ways to overcome digital dementia or digital photos being wiped out, if I want to be just using plain and boring English here, because we have lost great memories. People's lost very important photos because they just, most of the time, they just forget to do a backup. But the hurricanes, the fires, and all that, sadly, that's unfortunate. That's tragic, but that also has to contribute to that. Even prior to the social media era, okay, because natural disasters have been around, okay, so that's much long ago, but even before we humans arrived. So so I just protect your photos and go to someone who is trustworthy. He's a legacy kind of guy. Yeah, it's a business. Don't get me wrong, but this is more legacy protection, and
Yeah, it's
you
more
know,
legacy.
and and you want to document your family's journey from one generation to another, to another, to another. Because most human beings, they can remember only up to fourth generation, if, and that's a
If
big
that,
if,
if
because
that,
social
yeah.
media, we could barely keep up with 2 or 3 generations, barely. Or I'm talking barely. I think back then we could keep up with probably 4, but I look, the fourth, once hit like the fourth generation, the little great 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 grandchild ain't gonna know who the great 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 grandfather and mother is. He's like, what? They're too busy being addicted to this thing, and who knows, by the time the future they have like hologram and AI entertaining their little brains. So they're not gonna remember that. They're gonna remember the hologram and whatever character, maybe Xenon. I don't know. I'm just making up a name of that AI character that just pops up, and yeah, there's gonna be virtual reality and things like that. So yeah,
Yeah, who knows
holograms. Yeah,
what
go
the
ahead.
features are going to have for us for actual storage and actually how it, we have two-dimensional now. It could be more three-dimensional where it looks more realistic when somebody's talking, that type of thing. But it still boils down to a memory. We can take a picture now. We can take short videos. We can add audio to a picture so you can have that memory. Just because you got your phone and you got pictures in it, take a picture. There's a good picture. There's a good story to that picture. Well, tell the story. You know, it'd be kind of cool to have. I'd love to have my dad when he was I'd love to have stories off of him. I sat him down back in about '97, and when we were back road tripping, and got questions asking about when he was a kid, when he was in the war, in the Korean War, and just funny stories, and got some. My mom, I sat her down for some videos and stuff like that too. But at the same time, my brother passed away, and I missed sitting him down, getting videos, getting stories from him and all the stuff. Tons of stories. He's a great storyteller. I'll never have that opportunity again.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's and this is I'm sure this is one of the many reasons besides this why he have started this business, this product that will, I would say, if you use it, it will be a cure to your digital dementia. It will be the cure. I could easily say that. And
It's
he
a
does.
cure. There's other ones out there. I've seen some other companies doing certain things, but I can give you the good and bad about all some of the other companies that some of them aren't even around right now. But
Forget the back.
forget about them. Forget about them.
Exactly. Exactly. No, no, no. We ain't gonna do that. No, 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 no. I'm very biased here.
Yeah.
I'm pro guest
The
here.
biggest thing I got to tell people is start getting those memories. That's the biggest thing that you can use MyArkIt at any time. You only have to buy it once, but start getting those memories, especially from people that are getting in their gray area, and start asking things about their life and just just set them down. Start getting those memories because someday they will be gone and those memories will be partially in your brain, but it will not hardly be in your kid's brain, and your great great grandchildren will have no idea who you were.
Exactly. I'm not gonna add anything because that's really the sum of it. That's the forget gold. That is the platinum purpose of it all. Okay. And this, I think we did a shameless plugin. This sounds repetitive. Go to my ArkIt. I only found one website, but yes, many more. Obviously,
And we're looking for
memoarkit.com.
investors. That's a good plug.
There you go, investors. Going, you want to invest here? And
I
you know,
always tell people, I said, do you have an aunt that you know where her checkbook is? And she's like, is she really rich? And, I says, yeah, just write out a check. And I like to at least put those seeds out there, because someday, somewhere, there's going to be somebody that says, hey, this is a good idea. And then we're off and rolling on the big leagues, and we'll really see us blossom.
yep, come on. You got a big check in the big heart for this
Yeah,
business.
that's the big thing, a big heart. A lot of times I've run through a lot of venture capitalists and talked to them, and a lot of them they get the idea. Some of them get it, and other just kind of look like, well, I don't know, and it's just like they do that with so many people in industry. I mean, you look at industry now that was not even around 20 years ago, that people hoo-hawed and poo-pooed type of thing. And they've done that throughout history, the computers and the first automobile, all these type of things. And it's just like, going, well, okay, wait, give us 10 years and all of a sudden this will be a household name where people are using it. It's just going to be another way that you can use your digital memories and not get digital dementia.
Yep, exactly. Yep, so go. I'm gonna link the sites, and then if James would give me other links as well, he can give it to me. I'll share them. That's all gonna be in the description of this episode. All right, and he even has a YouTube channel as well that gives you a nice visual presentation. Why the heck you want to get this? Okay, I'm gonna link that video as well. Okay, and then now, anything else you want to add before I start doing my own selfish shape?
I'll put my plug in now. MyArkIt.com, MyArkIT.com. You can go to it and you'll see the 30-day free trial. Basically what it is, just click on it. We don't take any bank information, and basically you can kick the tires, take it for a test spin, and kind of get idea how we do things. And also I love feedback too, when people will say, well, I think you could have this or maybe have that. I'll look at it with my IT guys, and if we think it's a good idea, boom, we'll program it in a second. We always let me get feedback, because we're here for the long one. We're not here for just, okay, do I have to talk to this person 10 years from now? Yeah, probably. So let's just be nice to everybody. We're just trying to help people save their memories.
Yep. So you got all that information, listeners and viewers. Good. Now for the usual one, my loyal people, you have to suffer through all this again. My own shameless plug-in. Yep, deal with it. Deal with it. No, y'all love me. Y'all love me. I hope so. At least, in the transactional sense, let's be real. So, for me, give a like, share, give a honest review at Apple Podcasts. That's the only one I'm paying attention to. I don't care about Spotify. If you're doing Spotify, I don't care about you. Do the Apple Podcast. Yes, I'm that biased and proud. Okay, give an honest review. If you think I'm doing great, just say I'm doing great, and just add why specifically it was great. Not just I'm great or I suck. And if you think I could improve on something, be specific. There's a few people that's done that, and I appreciate the 4-star that's more constructive than the 5-star saying I'm just great. Okay. I'm great. I just need a specific, at least one specific thing. I don't need a whole essay. Look, listen. I don't need a whole essay of it. Just tell me, what can I improve on, or what make this episode great. That will be very helpful to me. Look, and that's all. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube, and Rumble. You kind of treat like second class citizens, because I'll eventually dump you there later. I'm also on Rumble as well. All right. And all that's going to be in the link in the description. And that I always put mine right after the guest. It's always at the bottom. Okay. Because I expect you to be loyal by now. I always put the guests on work on top, because they're here at least one time. And if I need to gather, extract more content out of them, if I or it's just a real big issue that I think, why digital dementia is more important than ever. If we all get dementia somehow, but then we definitely come back. Why dementia? We don't want that though. We don't want that. Let's not that happen. So you can prevent it. There's a solution right here. Okay. And that's all I'm gonna say. So this is the final part. Yes, you went through this audio and visual journey. Whenever you complete this audio/visual journey, have a blessed day, afternoon, or night.